Hey, it's Tucker Carlson. On Tuesday afternoon, the Biden administration had Donald Trump arrested. It was a pretty big news story. You may have seen it. Just before 9 p.m. that night, as part of its coverage, Fox News ran two live.
Right, I'm hoping that you can imagine that Tucker Carlson is a propagandist for the New World Order. Just bear that in mind.
Video feeds next to one another. On the right, Donald Trump addressed his supporters in New Jersey. On the left, Joe Biden spoke at an event for the Secretary General of NATO in Washington. Beneath those videos at the bottom of the screen, Fox's banner read this way, quote, "Wannabe dictator speaks at the White House after having his political rival arrested." Those words were up for less than 30 seconds, but the effect was...
The effect, if you're looking at it as a propagandist tape by Tucker, is that Biden is the bad guy and Trump is the good guy who is going to save you from the bad guy.
Immediate. Inside Fox, the women who run the network panicked. First, they scolded the producer who put the banner on the screen. Less than 24 hours after that, he resigned. He'd been at Fox for more than a decade. He was
Now you have to think that are Fox that inept that they put up something on the screen that they immediately thought, oh, that's not such a good idea? Are they really that bad as an outfit? Or is it propaganda?
Considered one of the most capable people in the building. He offered to stay for the customary 2 weeks, but Fox told him to clear out his desk and leave immediately. Suggesting that Biden is a dictator, declared the Washington Post, quote, "crossed the line." Alexander Vindman agreed strongly. Vindman is the perennial MSNBC guest and full-time Ukraine promoter you may remember from Russiagate. On Twitter, he demanded that the Pentagon pull Fox News from all military bases. It is, quote, "absolutely unacceptable for American Forces Network to carry programming that directly, spuriously, attacks the commander-in-chief of American Armed Forces," Vindman wrote. So you've got to wonder, if you're being honest with yourself, is Joe Biden a wannabe dictator?
Well, the answer is no, he's not, because he's just a puppet working for the New World Order.
That question came up yesterday at the White House briefing.
The truth of the matter is, there is the New World Order, which is the dictator. He's presenting on one side the Biden clan and on the other side the Trump clan. They want you to believe that the Trump clan is the good guys and Biden is the dictator. Please at least consider that possibility.
It takes a lot more than jailing your political rivals to earn the title wannabe dictator. The one thing that all dictators have in common is they enrich themselves and their families, their tribe, even as the countries they govern grow steadily poorer and more desperate. They take kickbacks from businesses and from other dictators. They use the official functions of their government to funnel cash to themselves. They don't bother to hide the fruits of this. They live in garish mansions with big lawns, far from the teeming cities, even as their own citizens languish in growing poverty, in some cases literally living in tents on the street.
Now, can you see the possibility that what Tucker has just described there is our society, the New World Order? He's just said it, but he's insinuating it's just down to Biden. That it's not. It's everything. It's everyone, everybody. It's the New World Order. Come out of it. Join the PAEACP. Start a new world. Leave this madness.
So they don't really hide it. It's all pretty blatant. And ordinary people resent it. Of course they do. And wannabe dictators know they resent it. But they don't care. There's nothing the population can do about it in a dictatorship. It's no longer possible to fight injustice in a system like that.
You murdered her inside the Capitol, now you're going to arrest her?
101, have a transport response.
So don't be like Ashley Babbitt's mother, much less like poor Ashley Babbitt. She's dead now. That's the message a wannabe dictator would send. And by the way, it's not just public protest that would be banned in a dictatorship. You wouldn't be allowed to complain from your own home. Unauthorized opinions expressed on the internet would be censored. Go too far, press too deep, tell too much truth, and they'll just erase your opinions. They have no choice, really. It's a matter.
They're already doing that. Look at the internet, it's dead. There is no actual opposition to this New World Order madness. They're offering you, through Tucker, a way out of the madness in your mind. That's all. It's a way out in your mind. You will still be under the thumb, under the new CBDC system, and not be able to speak your mind when you go to work. Think about that. You go to work and think that you can say what you like. You know you can. You know it.
As they say, of trust and safety. You must trust the leader, or else you will jeopardize his safety. Turn in your guns, Mr. and Mrs. Peaceful Opposition. You're a danger to society, and we know who you are. And in fact, the wannabe dictator does know who they are because he knows everything. Technology has made him all-seeing. So the administration now knows everything: where you spend your days, who you talk to, what you think, your porn habits. Not a big deal. The administration already knows what you buy, of course, because they've leaned on the big banks to turn over your confidential credit card information.
Notice how he keeps implying that Biden is a wannabe dictator, not an actual dictator, because if he was an actual dictator, he'd be living in the state that he's just described, or we would be living in the state that he's described. So he's a wannabe. And Trump will make sure he can be.
When you see one.
But the real dictator is the New World Order state that runs no matter what, no matter who's in power.
Dictators
who's president or prime minister or whatever.
Build cults of personality around themselves, and they use those cults to deny the glaringly obvious. In his later years, to name just one example, North Korean dictator Kim Il-sung developed an enormous baseball-sized tumor on the back of his neck. It was huge. It was grotesque. It was right there. You couldn't ignore it. You couldn't possibly not see it. But in North Korea, state media did ignore it. They pretended it didn't exist. And so, in some important sense, it didn't. If a tumor grows on a neck, but no one acknowledges it, is it really there? Thankfully, nothing like that is happening in our country or ever will. If Joe Biden ever develops some
Is the population ignoring something that is glaringly obvious?
Found physical or medical problem that was obvious to everybody, journalists would say something. This is not North Korea. We don't have state media here. Saddam Hussein had Uday and Qusay. They were princelings who lived above the law, indulging their most decadent fantasies with total confidence they would be never held to account by the police. As the sons of a dictator, they knew they could do exactly what they wanted. And so that's what they
Did Saddam Hussein have a Tucker Carlson type character?
He doesn't have weird sex scandals at the heart of his family that no one in the media will ever talk about.
Have you noticed how every dictatorship falls down and fails badly? That's because they don't have a Tucker Carlson type system. Or, sorry, a Biden, a goody and a baddie system. We do. Our dictatorship is the best one that's ever been.